Good afternoon, good evening, students. I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're back with another video, a new chapter that I previously announced. I told you that I was going to teach grammar on this channel. So as you can see, we're going to talk about the present simple today. But I also want to talk to you about the English tense system because a lot of students in general, confuse two things, tense and time. Okay, so before we start, as usual, I invite you to like the Facebook page of this channel in order to be notified whenever I post something new, and also subscribe to my channel if it's not already done. That would encourage me to do more and help you out during the period of exams. With that being said, we shall start with today's lecture. So the English tense system, right? A very important notion that you need to understand if you want to understand the English grammar in general, because in some languages, verb tenses are not very important, or sometimes, if you want, they don't even exist. But in English, though, the concept of tense is very important. It is crucial. On these pages that we're going to see, we will look at how to avoid confusing tense with time. Okay, we are going to get to know the 12 basic tenses, okay? And there are 24 because we have 12 basic tenses, which means in active form, and we have also 12 tenses in passive form, okay? So it is important for you not to confuse the name of a verb tense with the way we use it to talk about time. For example, if you want, a present tense does not refer to present time, does not always refer to present time, okay? So sometimes we use the present simple in order to refer to something that happens in the present, but also sometimes we use the present tense to refer to another time, okay? So if we take this example, I hope it rains tomorrow. We have the verb rain, okay? It is conjugated in the present simple with the personal pronoun it. It's the third personal pronoun. It's a singular, so we add an s. Okay, we're going to talk about these rules later on. Okay, this is just to show you that we're speaking about the present tense. Here is the present tense, but here there is tomorrow, right? Sorry, here we have tomorrow. As you can see, we used the present tense to refer to the future. This is why you need to understand the difference between the tense. The tense is this, rains, for instance, this is the tense, but the time is the actual timeline of the action, okay? We can take another example if you want. For instance, past tense, we use the past tense, but we do not refer to past time, right? We take an example. If I had some money now, I could buy it. Had is the past tense of the verb or the auxiliary to have, okay? So logically, when you say had, it means past. That's right. It is the past tense, but the time is not the past. If you read the sentence carefully, you will have if I had some money now, right? Here we are expressing a wish. The rule says if you express a wish in the present time, you will use the past tense. If you are expressing a wish in the past time, you will use the past perfect tense. Okay? The explanation says had is past simple, but it refers here to present time. Okay? And this, to conclude, it makes a total of 12 tenses in the active voice. Another 12 tenses are also available in the passive voice, okay? Which we are going to see later on during the upcoming videos, okay? Now, before we jump to the present simple, I'm going to give you a short table about all the tenses in the English language, okay? So I'll show you briefly how to read the table so that you can make the difference between tense and time. And then we are going to jump to today's lecture. Okay, so here we have tense, here we have time. Okay, here we have present, and in the present we have simple, continuous, perfect, perfect continuous. We have past, past simple, past continuous, or progressive if you want, past perfect continuous. And we have future, future simple, future continuous, future perfect continuous. Okay, so all these are the tenses, and if you count them you are going to find 12. For here, and for here, it makes a total of 12, and for each one of them they have their equivalent in the passive voice, because all these are active voice, but they have their equivalent in the passive voice. Okay, just to illustrate with one example about the difference between tense and time, and then we are going to jump to the present simple. Okay, so we have here present simple, right? If we take this example, I want a coffee. Okay, so for a student, you will see here, I want, so it's the present. You will say it indicates the present time. Here you are right, because I want a coffee, I want it now, I don't want it tomorrow. There's nothing that says that I want coffee tomorrow, right? But let's take the other example. I leave tomorrow. Okay? Here we have the present simple. You might say that we are speaking about the present time, but we're not. Okay, because sometimes you might not find tomorrow or the next day. You just find the tense, the present simple tense, and it also indicates the future time. Okay, so here we use the present simple in order to indicate an action that will happen in the future. So this is time, and this is tense. Okay, so this is how you will read the table. So you can pause the video to take pictures, or maybe copy it down if you want. So here you go. I will post these pictures on my Facebook page. You will find them anyways. But now we shall move to our today's lecture entitled Present Simple. So the present simple, or the present simple tense to be more specific, is the most basic tense in English. Okay, and we use the base form of the verb. When I say the base form, it means, for instance, let's take the verb to eat, right? So this is the base. Okay, this is the mark of the infinitive. When we conjugate to the present simple tense, we are going to remove to and we keep the base. Okay, the only change from the base is the addition of s for third person singular. Sometimes the base takes an s. We do this because the subject is either a he or a she or an it. Okay, this is when we add the s. In case the subject is not a he, the subject is not a she or an it, when you conjugate the verb to eat, it doesn't take an s. All right, you do not need to rely only on he or she or it. Sometimes you can find names such as Jake. Okay, Jake, when you say Jake, for instance, Jake is a he. Okay, but if I say you say you eat without the s. Okay, so this is basically the general rule concerning the present simple. Now we are going to see how do we make the present simple tense. Okay, we start with positive sentences. Positive sentences, it starts with a subject first, as usual, plus the main verb, and the main verb is conjugated in present simple. Okay, we're going to see in details. Then we have negative and question sentences in the present simple. We start with the subject when it comes to the negative. Okay, we add an auxiliary that we call auxiliary do, okay? Then we add the main verb, right? And auxiliary do, this is very important, needs to be conjugated to the present simple. And the conjugation of the auxiliary do is either do or does. We say does, okay, sorry with the handwriting, when it's a he, or a she, or an it, right? This is when we say does. The other personal pronouns, we say do, okay? So this is how we make the negative and question sentences. This is like the form. Now we are going to apply it to see when do we reverse the subject and the auxiliary, what to add in order to make it a negative, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let us look at the examples. So we have here the subject, we have auxiliary verb, and we have main verb. Okay, and then we have the rest of the sentence. Okay, so we start with to make a positive sentence. These are the examples. We make a positive sentence. These are the personal pronouns. Okay, these also can be replaced by nouns, proper nouns. Okay, so we have I, you, we, they like coffee. There is no auxiliary verb when it comes to positive sentences. Same thing when it comes to he, she, or it. There is no auxiliary verb when it comes to positive sentences. We say he likes coffee. We say you like coffee. Okay? We add the s, like I explained before, because it's a he or a she or an it. Okay? The other personal pronouns, we do not add an s here. Okay? For instance, he can be replaced with Jake. She can be replaced with, for instance, Mary. It can be replaced with, for instance, a horse or something. Okay. Then we shall move to forming sentences in the present simple in a negative form. Okay. So what do? We shall start with the subject first. So we use here the personal pronouns or the third person singular. Okay, then here we need an auxiliary. Okay, so when it's not he or she or it, we add do. Okay, when it's he, she, or it, or the proper nouns that we can use instead of these three pronouns, we use does. Okay, then after the auxiliary verb, we add not. Okay, we add not plus the main verb. Okay, this is how we form negative sentences. Then we need to know how do we form questions using the present simple. Here it's the opposite. We will reverse the subject and the auxiliary. Okay, so do I like coffee? We start with the auxiliary, then the subject or one of the subjects here, plus the verb in its base form, plus the rest of the sentence, and do not forget question mark. Okay, so we use do when it's I, you, we, or they, and we use does when it's he, she, or it. So for instance, you say, do you, okay, do you like coffee? Or does he like coffee? Okay, so this is how we form these types of sentences. Either it's positive, negative, or a question using the present simple. Okay, now we are going to read the notes. This is my explanation, and everything I am about to say here, it's a synthesis. Okay, so as you can see, for positive sentences, there is no auxiliary verb. We conjugate the main verb by adding an s to the third person singular. These are the things that I explained. For negative and question sentences, the auxiliary verb, which means do or does, is conjugated in the present simple. Okay? The main verb is invariable in base form. So when you attach a verb to a verb like, for instance, like, and you add do, even when it is with he or she or it, we attach it with does, but the verb here does not take an S. Okay, there is no S here because we have the auxiliary does. All right, this is a general rule that you need to remember. This is very important. For negative sentences, we insert not between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. This is what I explained before. We have not between the main verb and the auxiliary. Okay? For question sentences, we exchange the subject and the auxiliary verb. So the rule in the positive sentence, we have the subject plus the verb, right? When it comes to a question, we start with the auxiliary. So it's either do or does plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus the rest of the sentence plus question mark. Okay, this is the explanation of the last point. Then we shall move to the present simple with a main verb be. Something that you need to know about the auxiliaries, to have and to be. They can be verbs, lexical verbs, which means they carry meaning. For instance, when you say, I am Algerian, see, the be here is a verb, is a lexical verb. But when you say, I am eating, the auxiliary here is helping the main verb, which is to eat. Okay, so when to be has meaning, it's a lexical verb. It's the main verb. When it's helping another verb, usually when we are trying to form a sentence using the continuous form, we add to be. Okay. So this is the idea that you need to understand about to be. But here in present simple with main verb be, we're speaking about be as the main verb of the sentence. Okay, going to highlight the section. So the structure of the present simple with the main verb be is, this is very important. So we start with the subject, then we add be, and be of course is conjugated to the present simple. And these are the forms of be in the present simple. So we're going to see the examples and you see when are you going to use am, are, or is. Okay, so with I, so this is when it's a positive sentence. When it's I, we say I am. Okay, excuse me. We say I am. When it's you or we or they, we say are. When it's he or she or it, we say is. Okay? This is when it comes to positive, right? So I am French, you are French, we are French, they are French, he is French, she is French, it is French. Okay? Now, when it comes to the negative sentence, it's quite easy. We are going to take the same rule, you see, till now. It's the same, but between the rest of the sentence and the main verb be, we add not. You see? The main difference between having a sentence with the main verb be and a normal verb is that when you are trying to ask a question with be or trying to make a sentence in a negative form with be, you do not add an auxiliary. Because be only needs not. It does not need do or does. Okay? This is the idea that I want you to understand. You are not going to say, for instance, you does are not. Okay? You say you are not. You're not going to say you do are not. Okay? You are going to say you are not only. But if it's a normal verb, for instance, you do not eat enough, for instance. We add the do, okay? He does not eat enough. Here it's not do, it's does because we are using he. So this is a small or short synthesis about what we said before, so that I don't want you to be confused or lost. Then we shall move to asking questions. Okay, we have the same concept. We are going to reverse. So so we have I, it becomes in the place of the main verb, as you can see here. And the main verb be is put at first. Am I late? It's not I am late. I am late is a positive sentence. But am I, which means to have, for instance, this is the sentence plus be in the present, right? We are going to do this. So here be in the present plus subject. It gives you a question, right? This is the rule. We're going to try to read some points concerning what we explained. There is no auxiliary verb. This is very important. This is what I said. There is no auxiliary verb, even for questions and negatives. You see? At first, we added auxiliaries because we are speaking about a normal verb. But when it's the main verb is be, it's quite different. We do not need auxiliary verbs. So this is both for questions and negatives. The main verb be is conjugated in the present simple. These are the forms that be takes in the present simple. For negative sentences, we insert not after the main verb. That's all you need to know. That's quite easy. For question sentences, we exchange like this the subject and the main verb. This is the rule that I want you to learn. Then how do we use the present simple tense? Okay, so a lot of you find it difficult to know when do I use a present simple, when do I use a present perfect, when do I use a present continuous, and so on and so forth. Okay, so today you are going to learn when do we use the present simple tense. Okay, so we have it for three purposes, the present simple tense. We have it for general time, usually for action verbs. We have it for situations now, which means stative verbs. And then we have general time and situations now. Okay, this is usually made with verb be. Let's take an example for present simple for general time. So this is the first purpose, first, second, and the third. Okay. Present simple for general time. We use the present simple tense when the action is general. Okay, the action happens all the time or habitually in the past, present, and future. This is what we mean by all the time. The action is not only happening now. Okay, the statement is always true. It's what we call a general truth. Okay, let's take the example. John drives a taxi. Okay, this action happens in the past, in the present, and in the future, although we use the present simple. Okay, there is the es. Okay, to drive, it ends with an e, and since John is a he, so we add an s to the verb. So John drives a taxi. Okay, why is it? Why do we consider this as something that happened in the past, happens in the present, and it will happen in the future? Because it is John's job to drive a taxi. We're speaking about a job. So John started driving a taxi before, and now at the moment that we're speaking, and probably he will keep driving a taxi because it is his job. Okay? So he does it every day, past, present, and future. This is what we mean by John drives a taxi. Okay, let's look at other examples. So I live in New York. It's a truth. So I started living in New York. I'm still living in New York, and probably I will keep living in New York. So same thing goes with the other examples. Basically, they are general truth or habit. Okay, if you take this example, for instance, this is something that we did not mention. We meet every Thursday. Okay, so we have the word every. Okay, so it's an adverb of frequency. It's an adverbial of frequency. We meet every Thursday, so it's a habit. We use the present simple. Okay. So now we shall speak about present simple for now. Okay. Usually they are with stative verbs. We can use the present simple to talk about now, and stative verbs do not describe action. They describe state. Okay. In French, c'est l'état. And dynamic verbs, say, or action verbs, these are verbs that describe something that moves. Okay. So, and these verbs, if you want examples, we have like the verb like, or sound, belong, or belong to, need, seem, and we can use them with the present simple tense to talk about a situation at the present time. Okay, it's not general. It means we are talking about something that is happening right now. Okay. For instance, when you say, I want a coffee, that sounds interesting. Do you need some help? These actions are happening now. When I say I want a coffee, it means something that I want right now. That sounds interesting. This something that we're speaking about, it sounds interesting now, but there is nothing that will assure us that it will sound interesting tomorrow. Okay? This is the idea. Then we have present simple for general time and now. Okay? Both. The verb be is always special. It is a stative verb, and we use it in the present simple tense to talk about now situations and about general situations. Let's look at the examples of the verb be in the present simple tense. Some are general and some are now. Okay? When you say I am not fat, when you say why are you so beautiful, or when you say Ram is tall, the situation is general. Okay, I am not fat. It means I wasn't fat, I am not fat, okay, and I don't think I will be fat. Okay. When you say why are you so beautiful, this is the best example. Why are you so beautiful? It means beauty does not change. Okay, so you used to be beautiful, you are beautiful, and you will still be beautiful. Okay. Then sometimes we can use the verb be in order to describe something that is related to only here and now. Okay, so when you say am I right, it means you are right about something that is happening right now. Okay, it's not something that has happened before. Or when you say Tara is not at home, Tara is not at home. She is not at home right now, but maybe she will be at home tonight, okay, or tomorrow, or next month. When you say we are hungry, hunger does not last forever. So you eat, then you're not hungry anymore. So these situations are related to here and now. Okay? So that would be it for today's lecture. I hope it was quite easy for you. If you have any kind of question, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Message me if you want. I always leave the links to my email if you want, or also my Facebook profile or the Facebook page of this channel, or Instagram. And also note that we have created a Facebook group. You are welcome to join whenever you want, and you can ask your questions there as well concerning anything or something that you have found in my videos. I will answer you as soon as I see your post or your messages. Okay, till then, stay safe, and I'll tell you, see you in the next video. Peace.